So last night we did get an IR flight and an updated perimeter. Showed this fire over the past 2 days by that perimeter to have increased by about 4,000 acres. Most of that fill in of some of these holes. This big belly up here between those two fingers down in November. A lot of that stuff kind of filled in. That's all up to interpretation, right? Gave us our biggest acreage. But yesterday we did see quite a bit more activity around the perimeter of the fire. We saw about 600 acres out in the Zulu wilderness out there, area called Hindu Creek. Made a push up through that way. That's all based on that change we saw yesterday in that upslope winds, right? Up valley winds, upslope winds, as opposed to the northwest winds we'd had for the past few days. So look for more of that today. Warmer last night, a little drier on the ridges. Look for that to start a little earlier. Look for that upslope flow through the day. Look for activity to start a little bit earlier. This entire edge, aside from what we have, well contained in hotel, keep an eye on that too. Some things may pick up interior, but the entire perimeter is still active on this fire. And it keeps moving down the hill towards Bumping River, falling down into 410, incremental increases around the perimeter. So today, expect to see that backing fire continue. Anywhere that you do have, upslope pushes, something rolls down, expect to see some single and group tree torching as it moves back up the hill. Expect to see overall increased activity again today.
With that increased behavior yesterday, there was a little bit of increased activity overnight. They picked up some stuff in Oscar that they worked with the shot crew down there just to tie that up. Good transition with the day resources of where to grab that stuff. Starting with today's plan up in Branch 1, Division Alpha wrapping up their machinery work with that heavy equipment, continuing to focus on the structures and that fire edge right down to the Bumping River Road. We've got this triangle up here that's running Alpha, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot. Again, the primary mission up there is to establish control lines to meet the objectives, which is, protect the values at risk along the Bumping River corridor, the 410 corridor. So getting the control lines that have the best chance of success where firefighters can do it safely. So as we continue up there, that's the effort of focus through Delta, Echo, and Fox is continue the control lines that they've started, getting some dozer pushes put together where it makes sense, and then the structure assessments that are going on. A lot of work going on around structures in coordination with the Structure Protection Group, as well as all those insurance engines that are out there and assigned to the incident for those different houses up in there. Coming down into Branch 2, Division Hotel, they're going to do some reinforcement of this line up here that drops down to the Highway 410, just to make that a little more bulletproof. They've got some activity still in the Clover Springs area that they're going to continue to monitor, work buckets on as appropriate, just to keep that activity, keep that fire edge even, reduce any runs in that area. Moving around into the southeast corner there in November, getting the resources in place to be able to burn that if necessary today. There was an increase in activity in Little Rattlesnake. They've got some machine work to do up in the top end of November, and that's really associated with improving the road access so we can get the equipment in there. So Grader started on that operation. They're going to continue on that today. Additional equipment arriving today to improve our heavy equipment access up into there and be able to fire that. It's not for certain to go there. They're going to evaluate what it's doing in Little Rattlesnake, and if it's time to put fire on the ground today in there and develop this good controlled black edge, then they're going to do that. If it goes into tomorrow's shift, then it goes into tomorrow's shift, and that's what's right to do. Into Oscar, they're continuing to put their line together with November, and as well as moving west into Zulu. Zulu, an increase in equipment, much like yesterday, where they can finish off some of this planned southern control line. Thanks, and have a good shift.